Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence and welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for watching. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you my first impression on a fragrance by John Varvatos. And this one is called JVX&J. And this is their collaboration with Nick Jonas. And this is the silver version. So make sure to stay tuned. So John Varvatos, or John Varvatos, as I would like to pronounce because I am Greek and I am from the same island in Greece, which is Kefalonia, he has many fragrances and I think I own pretty much all of them. I have been purchasing them for a very, very long time, and as a matter of fact, my stepfather, who comes from Cyprus, also loves the brand, and so he purchases them too. So whenever he has a bottle that's almost empty, he gives it to me and I kind of display it proudly in my collection. But this is one of their newest offerings, and John Varvatos originally collaborated with Nick Jonas, who is one of the Jonas Brothers, of course, back in 2018, and that's when they came out with their first iteration. Now in 2019, just last year, they came out with a crimson version, which is in a crimson colored bottle, and then this year they came out with the silver version. Now I was looking at the note breakdown. It sounds pretty interesting. So it has lemon, bergamot, sage, orris, amber, I think geranium if I'm not mistaken, but those are some of the standout notes for me. And then there's also this sort of a mineral accord. So here is my sample that I received after making a recent purchase at Macy's, and so I'm really just going to spray it on for the first time. I'm actually not going to spray it on skin. I'm going to spray it on one of these test strips here, and I'll give you a true first impression of the fragrance. And keep in mind, it is just a first impression. Obviously, once I spend more time with the fragrance, my opinion of it might change, but for the time being, this is just what I gather from the initial smell. And I did 3 good sprays of this vial here, or from the vial I should say. So let's see, I have had the opportunity to smell the other fragrances that were done in collaboration with Nick Jonas, and I actually do really like the first one. I believe for that one, Rodrigo Flores Ru has not been used as a perfumer. I don't know if he did this one as well. I didn't really look that deeply into it. Okay, so there's a little bit of sweetness that I'm getting right away from the fragrance. It kind of strikes me as a little bit of like a tonka bean sweetness. Now, obviously, there is no tonka bean listed in the note breakdown. The only ingredient that could potentially come across as sweet from the ones that I've read is the sweet amber, or that amber accord. Now, amber is a fantasy note, and so it might be a combination of vanilla with a few other resins, obviously in synthetic form. But I am also getting a little bit of like a vanillic sweetness in the base from this one. Okay. So this fragrance actually does remind me of another fragrance that I have in my collection, and I've had this one in my collection for many, many years. And that fragrance is called, it's by Diesel, and it's called Fuel for Life. It came in like this little pouch, and you had to zip it up from the side, and had this metallic looking plastic cap. It actually reminds me a lot of that fragrance. And if I remember correctly, that fragrance has like a raspberry note or some kind of a berry note in there. And I've always attributed the sweetness of the smell to come from that berry note. And I'm getting something very similar here. So I wouldn't be surprised if this fragrance does in fact contain a berry note or a component, a synthetic molecule that is also found naturally occurring in some kind of a berry note. And it's interesting because I was just looking over at my John Varvatos collection, and I do have the original fragrance that came out in 2018, which was a collaboration with Nick Jonas. But this fragrance does smell rather nice. It's pleasant. It's definitely not groundbreaking by any means, and I also don't know if it's something that I would go out there and purchase. I probably would only purchase it just to review it on this channel if there is an interest for me to review it, or to, spend at least a week and a half or 2 weeks with it so that I can do a proper wearing and then review it on my channel. But off the initial impression, I do enjoy the smell. I mean, it's not groundbreaking, and it reminds me of something that I've tried before. And so I am a bit let down there, but it's very hard to say that it's not a pleasant smell. If you're looking for something that can be worn very comfortably, something that will garner positive attention, something that could also potentially land you a few compliments, I mean, you can definitely check this one out, especially if you are a collector of John Varvatos fragrances. I don't see why you shouldn't check this one out. However, if you are a fan of some of the heavier releases from the company John Varvatos, we're thinking Dark Rebel Rider, their 10th anniversary, collector's edition, also the Platinum edition, I think that this is definitely in a much different wheelhouse. And so you are going to get something a bit more on the safe side. However, it's not going to be like an Artisan Aqua. It's not that safe, right? And so it's not going to be like one of their citrus-based offerings. And going back to that note pyramid that I talked about earlier, it says that it contains lemon and bergamot. I'm really not getting much of that. And so it doesn't open up that citrusy. I'm not doubting that this fragrance contains citrol, citronellol, linalool, some of these naturally occurring compounds that are found in some citrus ingredients. But it's not overly citrusy to my nose, and it's not very woodsy either. Perhaps a little bright on account of the geranium. Perhaps there's a little bit of geraniol in this fragrance. But yeah, as it starts to dry down, I'm certainly picking up on this ambery warmth that is coming across smelling a little bit vanillic, but I also get this coumarinic sweetness on account of perhaps even like a tonka bean note or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I do find it pleasant. I do like the smell. It's one that I would obviously need to spend a little bit more time with if I ever want to do a full review on my channel. But just going over the initial impression, I mean, this isn't one that I overly love. This isn't one that I would probably go out there and spend my hard-earned money on. Just looking at my John Varvatos collection right now, I do like their oud offering. Of course, I like Artisan Aqua. I like a lot of the Artisan fragrances, and I also really like Vintage. Vintage is a fragrance by John Varvatos that I have been wearing for many, many years. I'm probably on my third bottle of it, and it also happens to be a fragrance that my stepfather wears and enjoys from time to time as well. Although as of late, he's been wearing a lot of This Is Him by Zadig and Voltaire. But yeah, I think for a collaboration with Nick Jonas and for a fragrance to be worn by a younger demographic, I think this would really be popular with that particular clientele. However, if you are familiar with some of the more daring John Varvatos fragrances on the market, this might not necessarily be one that caters to your personal taste. And just to keep things honest, it's not one that caters to my personal taste, but I can see how this fragrance would be successful, and I can see how this particular scent might resonate with some people out there. But yeah, all in all, trust your own nose, go out there, check it out for yourself. And you know what? I will also do the due diligence for this fragrance. I will put it on my skin. I will test it out for a short while. And if there's some means by which I can acquire a bottle, I will happily do so if there is enough of a demand for me to review it on my channel. Again, I'd be more than happy to do that. But that's it. I just wanted to give a first impression of Nick Jonas and John Varvatos Silver, keeping in mind that this is the 2019 release. There have been 2 fragrances released in 2019 that are a part of this collaboration. Obviously, if you have tried any of them, including the original that came out in 2018, I would love to know what you think. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. I always love to read your comments. I know lately I've been kind of busy. I don't have the opportunity to reply to every single comment. I try to. Sometimes I don't get around to it. I do apologize, but I always take the time to read through every single comment. It's actually one of the first things that I do in the morning as soon as I wake up. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for commenting. If you are new to this channel and you took something of value from this video, I would love it if you could support this channel by subscribing to it. It's easy and it's free. All you have to do is click that subscribe button in the corner, and this way, whenever I do upload future fragrance related content, it will get delivered straight to your feed. You never need to worry about missing any of my future uploads. And that includes, of course, first impressions just like this, but also reviews, top 10 videos, giveaways, unboxings, interviews, announcements, and a whole lot more. Thanks again for watching. I love you all. We'll see you next time.